Hello and welcome everyone, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to create a simple start menu in Unity. So I've got this empty scene here, and let's click on this file. We're going to create a new scene and Ctrl S to save. Go in our scenes folder. I'm going to delete this sample scene there, and then I'm going to call this in start menu. Let's save. Yes. So let's switch from 3D to 2D by clicking on this 2D here. So let's right click in our hierarchy to create a UI element canvas, and then let's press F to focus on our canvas, then zoom in a little bit. Okay, so while right clicking on our canvas, we're going to create an empty game object, and I'm going to rename this game object to start menu. And then while selecting this start menu game object, let's click on the rect transform property here, and then while holding our alt key on the keyboard, we are going to click here so that it automatically takes the shape and size of the canvas. So while clicking on this start menu game object, we are going to create a UI element image, and I'm going to rename this image to background. Awesome. So I'm going to do the same to this background image so that it fills the game object itself. So while selecting the background game object, or the image rather, we're going to change its color to something about here, and then I think something about here. Awesome. And then I'm going to bump down the alpha a little bit so that it's a bit transparent, somewhere about that. Awesome. So while selecting the start menu game object, I'm going to right click to create a UI element text, and I'm going to change the text to start menu. Say start menu. Awesome. So I'm going to change this font style to bold, font size to let's say 30 pixels, and I'm going to align it to the center and middle. I'm going to change its color to something about white. Save, and then I'm going to expand it a little bit. Let me bring it to the top right here, about there. Awesome. So I'm going to rename this text to heading. Awesome. So while clicking on this start menu game object, I'm going to create a UI element button, and then I'm going to rename the button to start button, and then I'm going to change the text here to start game. You change the font style to bold, font size to 25 pixels. I'm going to change this color to white. Now while clicking on this start button itself, let's expand it a little bit to it is somewhere about here, and then we are going to change this normal color to dark, and then we are going to bump down its alpha to somewhere about here, and then its highlighted color, the color in which we'll see whenever we hover our mouse cursor over the button, to somewhere about here, and then the pressed color, the color we are going to see whenever we press the button, let's say it's somewhere about here. So let's drag this button all the way here. So what we are going to do is we are going to delete this, we are going to duplicate the start button into two places, 1, 2, by simply clicking, holding and pressing Ctrl D 2 times. So let's rename this start button here to options button, and then this one to quit button. Awesome. So while selecting the options button, let's change its text from start game to options. So now let's select the quit button and change this text to quit. Awesome. So now as you can see, these 3 buttons are aligned on top of each other. So we are going to drag this options button by selecting the options button in the hierarchy here, and then dragging it down a little bit to somewhere about here, and then while selecting the quit button, we'll drag it way down to somewhere about here. So we are going to reduce its space. It's utilizing a lot of space, so let's reduce it to like this, and then this one to somewhere about here. That's awesome. So let's play our game to see what we have. Awesome. Now we have 3 nice looking buttons, but they cannot do anything. They are not interactable. They are quite interactable, but they are not doing anything. So what we want to do is that whenever we press on this options button, we want the options menu to come in and then the start menu to disappear. And whenever we click on this start game, we want our game to actually start. So let's implement that quickly. So while selecting the start menu, let's duplicate it and then let's call it options menu. Awesome. So what we want to do is we want to disable this start menu and leave only the options menu enabled. But in our options menu, we want to change this heading from start menu to options menu. Awesome. So in the options menu, we don't need the button, we don't need this options button, we need the back button. We need the back button. So we are going to rename this to back button, so that I can actually go back to the start menu, and then we're going to change this text to back. Awesome. So what we want to do is click on this options menu, right click, UI element text, and let's rename it to volume. Awesome. So we are going to while clicking on the volume, we are going to change the text to volume, and then bold, set this to 20 pixels, align it to the center and to the middle and center, and then change its color to completely white. Awesome. So right click on this volume text, add a UI element slider. So let's drag, while selecting the slider, let's drag it a little bit down here, somewhere about there, and then let's increase its length a little bit to somewhere about here. Let's save, let's play our game and see what we have. Now we have a nice looking slider, but it's having this round headed guy. We don't need that guy, so what we are going to do is expand the slider and then delete this handle slide area. There you go, we don't have that guy there again. So what we want to do is we want to fill it. We want the background of this slider to be white, and then the fill area to be something about there. Awesome. So let's play our game and see what we have. Then if we slide up, but the slider is not filling up completely. It's not filling up completely. So what we are going to do is we are going to click on this fill area. We are going to set its right to 0 and its left to 0, or simply by just right clicking and say reset. Oh, Control Z. Set left 0, right 0. I think that should fix that. So when we save and play our game, let's see what we have. Then when we slide up, awesome, it automatically fills. Great, it's working. So now what we want to do is we want that anytime we click on this options button, we want the options menu to come in. Great. So but we don't want the options menu to be showing when the game starts. We only want the start menu to be showing when we first start our game. So while selecting the options button, add an on-click event here by clicking this plus icon, then drag the start menu itself in here. When we click on this options button, we don't want the options, the start menu is a game object. So when we click, remember the options menu is on the start menu itself. So when we click on the options button, we don't want the start menu to display, so we are not going to check this box. And let's add another condition. But when we click on that options menu, options button, we want the options menu to actually show. So the options menu is also a game object. We want to set it active. Yes. So let's play our game and see what we have. So when we click on the options, Awesome, we have our options menu right here. So now what we want to do is that whenever we click on this back button, I want to actually go back to the start menu. So let's do the same thing. So while selecting the back button like this, we want to add an on-click event. Whenever we click on the back button, we don't want the options menu to show, but we want the start menu to show itself. Want to set it active. Oops. Want to set it active. Yes. Save and then play our game. Let's see what we have. So options, back, options, back, options, back. Awesome. Everything works. So now what we want to do is that whenever we click on this start game, we want the game to actually start, but we don't have any other scene outside this start menu. So we are going to create another scene, and then we are going to call that scene level 01. Oops. We're going to call it level 01. Awesome. So now click on your file, go to build settings, and then press add open scenes. The first scene is the start menu, and then we're dragging our level 1 in here. So whenever, know that this start menu is in the start menu scene. So whenever we press the start game, we are going to transition from this start menu scene to level 1. Awesome. As you can see, the build index is 0 and the build index is 1 as follows. Awesome. So we are ready to write our script that will actually make us start our game. So why selecting the start menu? Because the start game button is on this start menu. So we're going to add a component. We are going to call it start menu controller, create and add. So let's double click it to open. Let's double click to open. So what we want to do is I want to delete these two starting methods, and then we just simply want to write a public method. We want to make it public so that we can actually access it from our editor. So public void, we are going to call it start game. So in order to actually transition from one scene to another, we are going to be using the library, or we are going to import a library from the Unity asset package called scene management, using Unity engine.scene. Scene management, using Unity engine.scene management. So whenever we click on the start button, we want to actually move from that scene to a particular scene that we want. So we are simply going to say scene manager dot load scene. We are actually calling the scene manager to load a particular scene for us, and then we are going to tell it the name of, we are going to tell him to load a particular scene. And in our case here, the name of the scene is level 01. Make sure you do not misspell it. Level 01. So now let's come to our start menu here and our start button. Let's add an on-click event. The start menu controller script is sitting on the start menu itself, so let's drag the start menu in here. So the function is on the start menu controller and it's start game. Awesome. So when we play our game, let's see what we have. So when we click start game, awesome, we are in level 01. Now our game works. So let's play again and see. Options, back, start. Awesome, we are in level 01. So guys, this is how to make a simple start menu for your game. This is very basic, it's no complex. Excuse me, sorry. This is very basic, it's so simple, and I want you to practice until you feel you are comfortable with it. So guys, I also love to see you in the next class subsequently, where we'll be doing more to this start menu and the options menu. So guys, if this is the kind of content you like, or if this is the kind of stuff you like, be sure to subscribe, and even ring that notification bell so that you will always be notified when I release new videos. Stay tuned, and then have a very good day.